We're here working on some prompt poetry, and I'm going to be doing some writing until people start to show up. I hope that you're having a good night. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Beast, how's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. I don't have any chat prompts yet, but I'm working on some of my own. Working on one for silent battles at the moment. So I'm going to see how far this comes up. Lynette, so my boyfriend Eddie is in a mental hospital because he tried to off himself, so I was wondering if you could say a prayer for him. I'm not a praying man, but I do hope that your boyfriend gets the help that he needs. And that's a low spot. I've been there. I have spent a lot of time in that valley and gone to the fourth floor, which is the term for the place in my local city for mental crisis. So I I really hope that Eddie gets support and help and guidance from people that are in that capacity. I know I'll be thinking about him. I'll put a note here. Oh, it's nothing to apologize for, Lynette. I'm sorry that you are in the situation right now. That's a very emotional roller coaster of a moment, especially when it's somebody that you care about. Um, it, yeah, you're not alone in that, and I do seriously hope that he gets treatment and whatever medical help or professional help is necessary to get things back on track for him. It's never the right answer. It's actually interesting that you have brought up that subject because it's very much akin to the prompt poem that I was working on with one of my own prompts to start off stream. So when I finish this one, I'll read it. I don't usually read my own, but if you stick around for just a little while, I'll be finished with this one, and hopefully it'll be. I don't know. I don't know if it's correct to say uplifting in this moment, but I'll see what I can do to bring some brightness into the world for you. Oh, there's no reason to apologize, Julia. I just got started. I was a few minutes late getting started as well, so I'm only about 8 minutes into the stream so far. So you're not that late at all. Welcome. I hope that work is going well. Oh yeah, managers at retail. Hey, Bungie Donut, how are you? That's awesome. I'm glad that it's slow. I'm happy you're able to tune in. I'm working on one of my own prompts to get us started here, and so the prompt for this poem is "Silent Battles." And I'm almost finished. We're ready to do a reading, and then we'll move on to the next one. If any of you have prompts for the next poem, I'll be ready for those in just a couple of minutes here. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys for that support. Okay, this is Silent Battles. The prompt was provided by me, and keep in mind for these prompt poems, the ideal target time is usually 10-ish minutes. This one, about 8, not very well edited, but I won't be saying that for every poem. It's just something to keep in mind when we get started here. Prompt, Silent Battles. Millions of wars are fought in silence, countless victories tallied against defeats. Take the time to clean off your rose-colored lenses, and you will see stadiums with empty seats. The audience around you are just as likely to be fighting stage fright all their own. You are not any more a failure than me, and I know the darkness from which you've grown. Don't let the doubt make roots. From that seed will grow only fear. On those darkest days, we still need to lace up our boots, for the world wouldn't be the same without us here. I hope that that speaks a little bit to that experience that you were speaking about earlier, Lynette. And like I said, I hope that everything turns out okay, and I think it's the help that he needs. That is the first one done. We've got probably about another 45 minutes. I probably have time for probably 2, maybe 3 more prompt poems with a little bit of talking in between. So that's awesome. Thank you. I'm very glad. I haven't decided if I'm going to follow through with it yet, but in eventuality, I would like to make compilations, maybe do like a compilation book for the channel of prompt poems, like put them into a publication and have them on Amazon or something for people to order if they miss the live stream, or if the poems end up coming together really well after editing. I'm keeping track of who gave the prompt, time to write, and the name of the prompt as well. So I'll be able to put them all together and have a big collaboration of them eventually if we keep doing these, which I really enjoy doing these prompts, or prompt poems. So does anybody in chat have another one? I've got a couple more that I wrote myself in case we end up getting into a low spot. But I see that there are some of the regulars and some of those of you that have routinely commented, "Oh man, I'm sorry I missed this." So it's good to see you that finally have been able to catch it. I'm happy that we're able to do this a little bit more consistently now. And I'm home tonight, so I'm not in the camper. I'm in my actual computer table at my desk, which the lighting is much worse in this room than in my camper, which is kind of hilarious to me. But because the light is behind me, so I end up with this big fuzzy ball next to my head. Okay, I'm gonna start working on my next prompt, and then if I see one come up in chat, I will change gears. Yeah, the window in my office is, let me make sure it's not a disaster back there before I lift you up. Okay. So the window back there has this futon and stuff next to it. Basically the only space for my computer desk in this room is kind of where I am right now. But yeah, that is how here, I made this worse. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's cozy, that's a word. This desk is not ideal for what I've got, but it works and it's perfectly feasible. I was originally going to use, so funny that you say that, I should get a ring light, because I have this guy right here, but this is fixed for horizontal, so I cannot use it for vertical streaming. I bought a chintzy one that is not adjustable. So, and with the tripod set up, my desk, it doesn't really have the room. My notebook would be like way back here, and this is not on the desk underneath. But I use the ring light when I'm making some of my poetry videos when I'm sitting at the desk. That's the light source that is used for that. But yeah, I tried to be cost effective, and I didn't realize they made them where they didn't articulate. It is so silly to me that that even exists, but that explains why it was so cheap. But that's cool. Okay, we're starting this one at 16 minutes, 25 seconds. I'm going to start keeping track of exactly, like, down to the second of how long I've spent on writing. Something hopeful, like a happy poem. Okay, I'm going to add hopeful to my list of prompts. Ooh, that was terrifying. Hey, Ninja. How's your night going? Dystopia, but hopeful. All right, let me. I'll put a little caveat on that prompt, if we can make it. I'll put a little bit of a joke there. Hopeful dystopia. How's your night going, Ninja? Good to see you. Glad you're back. So this one, I appreciate that, Ninja. Thank you. That means a lot. Oh, I appreciate that, Solistrid. Well, I will start working on Hopeful Dystopia. Let's see. This is going to be a group. Here, let's put Hopeful / Dystopia. We've got Bungie and Soulless Druid as a joint. So we have a hopeful, happy poem, and then we want to throw in a spin of dystopia into it. That's what I understood from that. Oh. Okay. I just call out the usernames that pop up in chat, but I will try to remember that going forward, Izzy. Oh, I didn't write when I started this one. We'll call it 19 minutes and 15 seconds. That's exactly how this channel started. I have had this channel since 2011. I posted 5 or 6 videos while I was in high school on this channel, and then didn't touch it to the point where the videos disappeared. I thought that they wouldn't do that, but they either got taken down or got deleted. But a parody song. What was it a parody of, Druid? I do love parodies. My niece's favorite musician is Weird Al, so I listened to that a lot when she was younger, at full volume all the time. Crash test dummies. Okay. Very cool. Hey, Amanda, how's it going? That's funny. That would be a funny one to listen to. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. If I stop responding, I'm asleep. Sure is. That's one of the things I really like about writing out of a notebook versus typing on the phone is it's really easy for me to stay in the zone. It's kind of the sound of the pen on the paper itself is also like very soothing to my brain. Oh, gotcha. I do that when I'm driving too, Solus. Whenever I get an idea for a poem or like a certain word phrase that I think sounds nice, I'll just open my voice memos and just record it and then go back and listen to it later and see like, was I having a moment or was this actually going to come together the way I wanted it to? Good night, Ninja. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Thank you for tuning in. One of the side effects of having 4 dogs in the house is if anybody moves, all 4 dogs are just, what are you doing? And the whole pack moves through. I have seen a clip of that song where I don't know who the woman was, but said it into a microphone, and it was not. I don't know. I didn't think it was very cool, but I get it. It went very viral. No, I have. There are 4 dogs in the house. There is Aegis, Trip, and then Jupiter and Callisto. Aegis is the pit bull, Trip's the border collie, and then Jupiter and Callisto are father daughter husky malamutes. So there are 4 total. Yeah. Rescue mutts are best mutts. I will not change my mind. They are. They try very hard to be cute. Aegis has to be cute because he's not that smart, but he sure is pretty. He's a good-looking dog. We're at 2809. 2809 for that one. So we're at 9 minutes and 6 seconds for this poem from beginning to end. This is hopeful and dystopia. So a hopeful poem with a dystopian accent, prompt by Izzy and Solus Druid. What will happen when the food runs out? When every activity is recorded? Will humanity weather that drought? Or will love itself be another commodity to be hoarded? I don't know when those answers will come, but until then I'll keep planting seeds. Even if it only grows enough for some, doing the work fulfills my needs. The desire to try and lift up around me, giving my time to hold out hope is an easy trade. And even if all those seeds only grow one tree, I hope those after me can sit in its shade. Yeah. I think that's a cool image in my head, of like this post-apocalyptic world with one tree kind of growing. So I'm happy with that one for 9 minutes. Well, let's see. Let's go back to this one. I appreciate you. Thank you, Druid. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's another one to cross off the prompt list. If anyone else has another prompt, we can add it to my list. We've got that one checked off. I'm working on this one right now. And we did this one already. So I'm down to one of my backup prompts. And we've got about half an hour. So I can probably do another 2. I'll be live until just about 10 p.m. EST. I might go a little bit longer because I got started a little bit late, but I'm gonna try to be live for a full hour. So we did that one, and I'm working on this one. I'll go 29, and let's do 29 even for this one. I post these on my Ko-Fi page, and I don't post these prompt poems yet. I was thinking about doing a compilation. Have a good night, Amanda. I was thinking about putting them all together and editing them and like putting in a little bit of extra work and putting them together as a compilation for my KDP page to list with some of my other book that's on there. But currently, I don't have the prompt poems posted anywhere, but I do post my written poetry on Ko-Fi and my Facebook page. My Facebook page has not been getting a lot of love because of my goal this year was to focus on moving into video format, like video creation of my poems. I think that me reading them is a facet of my poetry that's very important to me, and I think that it translates a little better. Um, sorry, what is it? I don't know what part of what I said you're asking about, Izzy. If you could clarify for me, I would appreciate it. Oh, no, that's also true. I've been on Facebook longer than I've been on YouTube with my comment, but um, my YouTube channel has been the most fun for me to try to work on for sure. I really enjoy this dynamic, and reading and meeting all of you and having a very live interaction is just not something that I experience on Facebook. I don't I don't know. There's a lot of creators on there that, oh, you can. You feel free to give me a follow. I'm BYG Poetry. It's the same. I think the link is in my channel description or my about section on my YouTube channel if you'd like to. Most of it recently is little blurb poems and me sharing my Ko-Fi page to try to see if I can move some of my audience from Facebook onto Ko-Fi, because it's free to follow on Ko-Fi and I've been using Ko-Fi a lot more. So I'm trying to get away from Facebook. I would love to get to the point where I can uninstall Facebook, but I still use it for my social media of BYG Poetry and Marketplace and those kind of things. But I'm trying to slowly. My Ko-Fi should be linked. If it's not, it should be. But if it's not linked in this, it's linked in my most recent poem video descriptions. It should be in the descriptions going forward of any of my poem videos that I post on the channel. That, and in my community page, I have a link up for my newsletter that's going out if the behind the scenes content is interesting. Stuff about the pups, stuff about my personal life, where I'm at, views that I have in Alaska, like that kind of stuff. I'm going to do a once a month email, and if you don't want to miss a live or are worried about missing some of it, it'll just go straight to your inbox. That is in my community page on the channel, or in the community tab of the channel page. I can speak, I swear. Okay, I just had a dropped connection. I'm still here? Thumbs up if you can hear and see me. It says I'm live, but I have a reconnect button still on my screen. Hey, there we go. Okay, cool. I'm back. Uh-oh. Maybe it's YouTube that's happening. I shouldn't have any connectivity issues at home. I was much more worried about having them in the camper. Had a wheel of oh no's myself. Uh-oh. Did I miss something in chat? Yeah, chat might still be lagging. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I had the cloud icon on my screen with a reconnect as a push button, but I was still, the little live thing on the top of my screen was still active and said I was live, but it was encouraging me to hit the reconnect button, even though I was still live. I was confused. I am but a simple person, and streaming is complicated. Oh, I wouldn't say that, Izzy. I don't think that's a good view. Comparison is the thief of joy, I believe the quote goes. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just the best me that I can be. And I think you're the best you that exists. So nobody is better than you at being you. Just like nobody's better than me at being me. I like that too. Somebody said that to me pretty early on in my one-on-one counseling, and actually it was relationship advice at the time, but that was something that has stuck with me. The best kind of glue. It's a good mindset to have, I think. I have gone to poetry slams and done live readings of my stuff. I've competed in a couple of local poetry contests and that kind of stuff for submissions and like in-person readings, but I haven't done any in-person reading contests since I was in my early 20s. It was quite a few years ago, 7-8 years ago now. I think I was 22 the last time I did a live reading for like judges and stuff. But I do go to poetry slams when they're around me or when I have time off. I work a lot of weekends, so it's hard to get to those kind of events. Sage Francis. It's not a name that I am familiar with. DJ Jazzy Jason. How's it going? How is everybody doing? Oh, gotcha. Okay. Very cool. I do prompt poems on stream. All right, Tickle. I hope that you enjoyed your 2 comments because you just earned yourself 10 minutes to think about it. What inspired my sobriety? I've talked about this a little bit in one of my Q&As, but I've battled with addiction and substance abuse of various substances since I was a teenager. And I had a very high tolerance, and I had a very bad habit of drinking and driving. I grew up doing it. I grew up watching my role models do it. and it was fine. Everybody did it. Not everybody got caught. It was just a perfectly normal thing for my life growing up. I got my DUI in 2018, did 1 year of sobriety, court ordered, and the day that I was allowed to drink again legally, I went out and got drunk and drove myself home. So I hadn't learned anything. I had learned a lot. I had learned a lot, and I hadn't taken a lot of it to heart. I had learned it, and I knew the words, and I knew what to say in counseling to make the people around me happy. I was masking my way through it, and I knew exactly what you needed me to say. The situation for me getting my DUI, everybody has a lot of excuses, I'm sure, but I had a friend that chose to no longer be a part of this world, and I took it very, very badly. I was not wanting to be alone. I went out to the bar. I didn't usually drink at the bar. I usually drank at home. Went to the bar, got obliterated, and I was in a rental car because my car was in the shop. So I'm driving an unfamiliar vehicle. I'm drunk off my ass, and I got pulled over. Got got arrested. I blew a .27. I had no business being a human being. I'm just very lucky that nobody got hurt. Lucky that I didn't hurt anybody else. I'm lucky that I didn't hurt myself. And I did the 1 year after that. Immediately after that happened, I was back on my bullshit. I wasn't doing it as often, and I was being more conscious about when I did it. And I felt myself getting to the point where it was becoming a lot easier for me to do it. And last fall, I had one night where I woke up in my camper and I had no recollection of how I got there. I remembered various points of the night before. All of my work stuff was where it was supposed to be. My tools, my keys, my boots were on the boot dryer. Everything was right where it was supposed to go. But I didn't remember getting home. So I had my wake up call of, if I am in this mentality where I'm so familiar with doing this that I don't need to be connected to my brain to do it, and I'm doing it exactly the way it needs to be done, I need to stop. I cannot trust myself. I do not want to do this again. I don't want to hurt anybody. Yeah, that's exactly. At least I woke up. I'm lucky and fortunate to have that opportunity and that grace. That day after work, I spent all day I was mad at myself. I was being very hard on myself mentally all day that day at work. And I sat in my work truck after work that day. I knew that I had a case of beer in my camper on the floor. No, I'm 134 days sober right now, DJ. Um, I've been tracking myself on here on YouTube since day 8, doing good morning check-ins and keeping track of my sobriety, publicizing it, talking about it, writing poetry about it, making sure that if anyone thinks that they're alone with it, they're not. It's okay to talk about it. Yeah, I post a good morning check-in every day. Every morning when I wake up, usually I'm sitting in the work truck. I've just started my shift, or I'm sitting in the kitchen getting ready to go to work, or in my car, and it's on my way to work. It's become part of my routine. But anyway, back to sorry. I want to finish this. Just kind of explain what inspired me. That is what inspired me to go sober and know that I couldn't have one. I was not a just have a couple person. I was not a it's okay, I'm good at this person. I cannot do that. I do not trust myself to do it. I experienced and demonstrated that I cannot trust myself to myself. So I wrote myself a letter in the work truck that day. I knew that I had a case of beer sitting in my camper. When I got off work, I walked into my camper and I taped that letter to the top of the box. And I told myself if I wanted to drink, I needed to read that letter and still want it. And that worked for me. I I wrote it. I dragged myself in it. I was so mean to myself, but I needed to be. I needed to feel that shame and be reinforced on it. For me personally, I don't think anybody should do that to themselves. That's not what I'm advising anybody to do, but it's what worked for me. I wrote myself a letter and I made sure that I remembered everything alcohol has taken from me, everything it's taken from my loved ones, and everything that I have not been able to achieve because I was more focused on getting drunk. And that's what worked for me. I think alcohol is harder to quit than any other substance I've ever used, DJ. Like I used to be into a lot nastier shit than booze, and I had an easier time quitting that than I have quit drinking. What did you do in the beginning when you really wanted to? Like, what helped you not? I made myself read that letter. I got rid of every ounce of it in my house. So when I was home on the weekends, I used to, no matter what I was doing, if I wasn't on call or I wasn't working, I was drinking. It just was part of it. I got rid of all the beer in the house. I changed it out for seltzer water. Oh, I'm sorry. I was speaking and not looking at chat, but side notes, I changed all the beer out of the house into seltzer water. I saved some of my old booze bottles and I brewed tea like on the stovetop to put into the bottles. So when I wanted to make like a whiskey and coke, I would make a this nasty ass spiced tea and coke. I hated the tea, but I muscle memory tricked my brain into thinking that's what this whiskey was now and just kind of made myself not want it anymore. Like aversion therapy. I'm not a big fan of yerba. I have had it before. It's not bad. It's just not my jam. But yeah, stress is a huge thing, especially when it's become commonplace for you to process that way. If your brain knows, hey, this is what we do to soothe these feelings, it is very hard to hurdle over that for sure. I've had that experience too. I had a super stressful day at work and I walked over to the fridge and I opened it without really thinking about why, and I realized after the fact that I was looking for a drink. And that was I actually spoke about that on my next good morning check-in because it was something that I sat with. I sat at the kitchen table for a while and just kind of thought about it and had to come to terms with I needed to change my way of thinking. Hey, Grendel, how's your night going? Oh, I should probably keep writing. I need to finish this poem, and we've got about 11 minutes. I'm going to go a little bit past 6, but yeah, absolutely. Solis, it's like that social, or I think social engineering is the right word. Like the people around you do it, you grow up around it. It's just steeped in you. I appreciate that, Grendel. Thank you very much. Oh man. Yeah, being surrounded by it is a hard thing. I know that feeling everywhere you go, everything you're used to. I'm fortunate enough to have I was the biggest drinker in my friend group, so me stopping has not really affected my social life very much. I don't get invited to a couple of things because my friends feel bad for it. They don't want to drink in front of me, even though I've told them that's fine. That's not going to bother me. If it does, I will remove myself. But are you in USA? I am. I'm in Alaska, so kind of USA. It's the best state, but it's still technically the USA if we want to get technical. If you play around with ChatGPT, you can get some almost psychedelic poetry. Yeah, I have experienced some ChatGPT writing for editing, and it is, I don't know, it's pretty. It's not written the way people talk in my personal experience. Now, I don't know if it's ChatGPT 4 or 3.5. Like I use it for prompts. I use it for a poetry evaluation. I have a prompt that I use that I have it convinced that it's a poetry editor for a magazine, and I send my poems to it to see how it would rate them and if they would get published in this fake magazine that it has. So I'm sure somewhere ChatGPT has a catalog of a bunch of my poetry that it'll eventually get used to clone me and make me obsolete. But it is neat some of the stories that it comes up with. It's like this is wild for 2 seconds of generation. A normal amount for me when I was drinking, I would go through. I would get off work. I would usually nap right after work, like 4 o'clock. I would lay down. This is when I'm in the camper, so I'd get up, go to the bar at 6, 7 o'clock when things started to pick up, and I would usually run like an 80, 65 to $85 tab every night when I was working, and then I would come home and I would go through usually two of the 175s. I don't remember if it's like half gallons or if it would be a full gallon, but of scotch or gin every weekend, and including a case of beer drinking during the day. So, but yeah, probably anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20, depending on how late I was out that night or weekdays. I had a very high tolerance, and I would drink until I got drunk every time. It was the only way. Why else would I be doing it? It wasn't a social interaction. I'm here to do this. I'm not up here to hang out. So, but it was enough to make a notable dent in my finances when I stopped. I've noticed significant more money at the end of the day. Yeah, no, I mean it's not anything to it's not anything. I'm not going to be insulted by that. I understand what I was doing, and like I know you're not going to insult me by it. I'm very much aware. I would suggest, even if it's a friend or somebody that's not a group of people, but if you have any kind of a support system, solace, someone to talk to, it's it's helpful. I haven't needed to lean on very many people, but I do have a very supportive friend group, and I know this probably doesn't mean a lot coming from a random live stream that you tuned into for the first time. But if you do need to reach out, you're always welcome to email me or reach out in the comments here, and I read every comment that comes on. So if you do need to talk or do need to reach out or want to just talk about stuff, I'm in the process of setting up a Discord server to get people to hang out. That'll be a lot more interactive than the comments of YouTube, because comments are it's hard to see tone and inflection, and like a lot of times there's a big delay in responses. So I am setting up a Discord server. Eventually, I'll have the link posted to the channel page too. If Discord is your thing, I'm a Discord noob. I do not know very much about Discord, so I'm doing my best to get it set up and usable and correct. And right now, it's a perk for Ko-fi people that want to follow me, but I'll have a free get into it eventually. Yeah, that feeling, DJ, the figuring it out on your own. I isolate to process. I feel like I am better at processing my own emotions than anybody else will be helping me. And I think that's true with emotional things, but with substance abuse and cravings and that kind of stuff, that is exactly the behavior that that substance wants you to do. It wants you to isolate. Don't reach out. Don't reach out. You're weak. It just pull in. Stay here with me. I can make it all better. And that's something that I've experienced and I've had to overcome that urge to not reach out and think that you're not weak for having to reach out. And if the people that you're trying to ask to be there for you aren't willing to be there for you, they're not the people that you that you need to be friends with. If they are your friends, they're not really. Because if they don't care enough to be there for you in those moments, then that's not a friend. That's my 2 cents on that. I think that wanting to isolate and process the addiction yourself is a symptom of addiction. 2 cents, not a professional. It's my own personal experience. I still have days where I get into a low spot. Yeah, for sure, Druid. I, I have days where I go nonverbal. I'll message my partner or we'll talk when I get home very briefly. And it's like, hey, I need some me space. I need some me time. I need to just sit with my headphones in and I won't talk to anybody and I'll just write. Speaking of, I need to finish this poem. I've got about 4 minutes. Hey, Stony. Thank you for popping by. Just catching the last couple minutes of the stream. I'm not a philosopher. I am Alaskan, and I have a beard. Maybe I'm an apprentice philosopher. I gotta master the stroke. Let me get this down. I have noticed my face has physically changed in appearance. If I go back and look at some of my first good mornings, which I started on day 8, I can see in my face of like the puffy, the flushed face, and I'm kind of fat, so I always have rosy cheeks. I got a lot of flack in my early posts about you can obviously tell this guy's drunk. His face is still red. It's wintertime in Alaska, and I'm kind of chunky. I can't exist in my environment without turning a little bit red, but I feel better. I don't sleep well as a baseline, but I have noticed that sleep I feel more rested when I wake up for sure. And that's you might as well be a doctor then, Stony. That's from what I understand. No, I'm about to crash as well, Izzy. If you have a good rest of your night, I'm gonna leave this prompt poem where it is, and it'll probably be where I pick up for the next stream. I'm gonna be doing another one of these on Friday. It'll be a little bit longer then, because I'll be in a hotel room and trying to make the most of entertaining myself. So I'll see you all in the YouTube comments, and I will see you all on Friday for another prompt poem stream. Yeah, this coming Friday. Oh, I think I've read about that. Is where your face always has that pigment to it, that rose colored or like that flushed appearance. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate you all, and I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your evening wherever you are in the world. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.